So welcome to a special edition of the Full Moon Show. We are coming to you from the PlayStation Store in the Metreon in San Francisco for the launch event of Resistance 2. Sitting beside me, I'm James Stevenson, the community manager at Insomniac Games. Sitting with me, Ryan Schneider, community director.
Hey everyone.
Brian Intihar, the Fragile Eagle, community manager at Insomniac Games. Got a fun show for you tonight. We will be talking a little bit about the launch of Resistance 2, finishing this project, and all the fun we've been having with it. We're also going to have Ted on the show here in a little bit. He's outside with fans right now. We've got some other great folks with us. Jake Beagle, our lead co-op designer, is around. He was hanging out with some of the community members over in a little cocktail party we had going on. We have Corey Garnett, who's the community architect and one of the driving forces behind MyResistance.net.
AKA Squeak.
Squeak, as you know him online. And then Paul Featherstone is doing some pickup shots, some of his videos being taken around right now, and he's outside with Ted. So,
and Eric Ellis.
And Eric Ellis. I forget that because Eric lives up here, and so he swung by. He's the multiplayer time distortion specialist.
Yes.
So he's the reason.
He's like the wizard.
Yes.
He's the wizard. He's the reason you're enjoying these 60-player lag-free games.
Exactly.
So this event is, a huge launch event for an Insomniac game. And we've got a lot of cool stuff going on tonight. You can get your picture taken and put on the cover of Resistance 2. There's going to be some autograph signings. People are getting, 2,008 pennies off the collector's edition in honor of Election Day. So it actually makes it cheaper than the regular edition. There's a ton of people in line outside waiting for it. Well, and if you're not in San Francisco, you don't realize exactly how cold and rainy it is. We were delayed a couple hours just getting into the city because of the rain. It is wet, it is cold.
James didn't even have a seat in the plane. They gave him 10A. There was no 10A.
I got on the plane and there was no seat. Like, I'm standing there and I had to ring the call button because my seat did not exist on the airplane. But,
it was trying to tell you something, but obviously you did not take it.
Then they charged you a $30 upgrade fee to get an actual seat,
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
You know how the airlines are these days. So one of the things I really want to talk about was what our favorite moments of development over Resistance 2 are. So I'm going to let Brian, who's the newbie to video game development this year, start with his favorite moment from Resistance 2.
I would think favorite memorable. Memorable is realizing quickly how hard video games are to make. When I sat in my first meeting, we were going over Chicago level, and we analyzed 8 seconds of gameplay for over an hour and a half. That was pretty memorable. Overall, it was just to be able to finally really get a really good glimpse of how these games are made, and just interacting with so many different people,
Sure.
and seeing, from the animators to the, going down to the mocap sessions and hanging out with Grant, one of our artists and stuff like that. Just all those different moments of finally meeting the guys who, I've been covering these, Insomniac games for a while,
So one of my favorite moments just ties into what Ryan was saying, but it's right before E3, and Brian started freaking out about what we were showing at E3 about 2 to 3 weeks. It was classic because he's like, we gotta talk, guys. We gotta talk. We can't show this. We really have to talk.
Guys, we cannot.
When did this become about me?
We cannot show this. No, that's just my Brian impersonation.
That was terrible.
But just think, you joining us has provided us our favorite moments of Resistance 2.
Your favorite moments are me being worried
basically.
and scared and all right.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
2 weeks later, it looks great. Brian was very chill, but it was a very funny freak out moment that I think everyone has their first time, couple, month before a big deadline or something, like, oh my God. All right, so same sort of topic, but your favorite moment in Resistance 2, the game, and we won't spoil it, so if you're still working on single player.
I think for me, it has to be Orc. I think just that intro and just the whole pacing of the level, even the intro to cutscenes is just so intense. I would say my highlight so far is this for a game experience,
I gotta say, Splicer in Chicago, in the hotel, and watching the Grims, when they get sliced and diced, and they still try to come after you if they have one arm and no legs, and they're crawling down the hall.
It's just a flesh wound!
I know.
I think my favorite experience was some of the massive battles in the game, from especially Chicago and the bridge sequence. There's some in Iceland. They're really scattered throughout the game, but some of those really epic moments where you're just kind of looking at all the enemies in front of you, and it's like, oh shit. And when you walk out and you die, and you're like, okay, I shouldn't just walk out into the middle of this anymore. So some other cool things besides the ARG that expand the Resistance universe. We already mentioned Resistance Retribution, which is coming out for the PlayStation Portable. It's from the Sony Bend studio.
Yep.
We're all super excited about that game. It's really cool. There's
and
also
the connectivity feature, you know.
yeah,
as well with
you
us.
can infect your PlayStation 3 by hooking them up. You can then play it, and there's new Intel to unlock. You can play it with a PS3 controller. A lot of really cool features if you own Resistance 2 and Resistance Retribution.
Yep.
On top of that, we have the novel from William Dietz called Resistance: The Gathering Storm. That will have a lot of cool new backstory for people that are interested in the universe. There's the comic book series. It's a mini series from Wildstorm. And if you see the digital version and the collector's edition and some promo areas, may be able to hand out some free ones of those. So you may actually see a few print versions laying around. And then we've got
You're almost out of breath, dude.
I know. There's so many things to talk about.
Apparently
What do you want me to do? And we've got the action figures too.
Yeah.
So
And a new series of action
it's a new
figures
series. So
coming
you've got the
after
one in the collector's edition. There's several other ones that'll be coming out next year, also from DC.
that. Don't forget the art book.
And well, the art book is inside the collector's edition. If you're a Resistance fan, you got to get the collector's edition. You know, you're seeing this after the games come out. Hopefully, you've already picked it up. But there's a lot of really cool stuff. The art book might have been one of my favorite moments working on
Absolutely.
Resistance 2 because that came together very, very rapidly.
How rapidly?
Over about 24, 48 hours,
Yeah,
roughly.
literally,
So
literally.
we had a lot of fun with the art book, and we hope you guys like it.
Yep.
But I think that roughly covers everything we wanted to talk about.
It's a big game, huge universe, lots of swag, and it's all starting, live tonight in about 25 minutes.
Can't wait. Just want to go in there, man. Like,
I already got 5 of my friends that were Xbox fans and were like, digging the Halo gears. Already not only have their PS3 set with their high definition TVs, they got Resistance 1, and they're getting Resistance 2 at launch tonight at GameStop.
all right,
Yep.
man, you're a good man.
Hey, we're all busting co-op right when we get out of here.
What class were you into in the beta?
Shoot, man. I was the medic.
It's just a new take on it, you know? It's going to be awesome.
Games that use the healing type of engine, heal your teammates. I haven't had as much fun healing people as I have with Resistance.
You damn it. Shoot, you get your life back, and that's
fun,
awesome.
man.
You know, a whole new medic class in its own right. So, and this is coming from like TF2 players and whatnot. So, it's just a good idea.
Definitely loving San Francisco, bringing it home too, into the Bay Area.
I know, it's strange to be here and to see it not on fire.
Yeah, big ass ships in the sky.
Aliens running
Awesome.
around. I love the competitive part of the beta. It's just really awesome with 60 people all in one game. Get a sniper rifle, sit back, watch all the people coming out.
Resistance 2, everything's bigger. Bigger worlds, bigger guns, bigger maps, environments. Everything about it's just huge, man.
We're back, and Ryan and I are here with, obviously, Ted Pryce, the founder and CEO of Insomniac Games and creative director on Resistance 2. Ted, what do you think of all this?
Awesome. I mean, what's the best part is actually talking to fans, going out and just walking around and seeing people who are huge Resistance fans who are really excited to be out here tonight to check out the game.
It was pretty funny because when we first got in here, when Ted came over from a little cocktail event we had going on, like all these people started waving from the windows, and then they were like, "Ted, there's a bunch of people out there, like want to see it." So Ted then went out, and it was really cool though because like people immediately recognized you, or like
it's a weird feeling. I mean, because I don't feel like I'm a recognizable guy, but when people see me and they're waving at me, I'm going like, "Me? What?"
Yeah.
So, but they're really super nice guys. Everybody's excited to get online and start playing against the folks in New York who've already started playing. And they're also really pumped about the single-player campaign, too.
When we first started Community, really back almost 5 years ago, did you think that it would turn into this?
Not at all. I mean, I think 5 years ago, Community was something that most game developers really didn't think about that much.
Right.
And it was really cool to see the community grow and also provide some amazing feedback for us as designers to make sure that what we were doing was really what the fans wanted.
So what do you think the biggest things that have evolved from Resistance to Resistance 2 that were, fan feedback? What would you call out to people to say, hey, remember you guys were talking about this?
I think the most obvious thing that people will notice when they turn the game on for the first time is more color. The game really looks different, and we've spent a lot of time updating the engine, improving our technology behind the game, being able to draw more, and adding more color to the game. And that was something that people pointed out early on with Resistance Fall of Man. We wanted to take it further with Resistance 2 and kind of make it more vibrant.
Let's talk about 8-player online co-op just a little bit and why we went that direction as opposed to building it off the single-player campaign.
I think one of the things we realized early on was, A, we can do online co-op. We know we can do it. And we know we can do 2 players or 4 players. But then we thought, you know what, everybody else is doing this. Let's take the bar a lot further and see what we can do with a lot more than 4 players.
Absolutely.
So, thinking back on Resistance 2, what was your favorite moment? We discussed this a little bit with Brian and Ryan and I, but what was your favorite moment of development? What personally for you was kind of your favorite moment when we were working on the game? Like, when did something click, or what was funny?
Well, my favorite moment was walking off the stage at E3, having just avoided dying by a tenth of a second in front of millions of people watching on the live webcast. That was also the scariest moment of my life. I mean, just knowing that I was about to die. You know, what would have been worse is to have to deal with all the Insomniacs giving me crap for the next 6 months for dying in front of the entire E3 population.
We just want to know if you heard Brian from the 5th row saying, "Oh my God, he's gonna die." No.
Yeah, doing live demos is definitely a challenge, and at that point, not having God mode or on was fun.
So what's your favorite moment in the game? Like, thinking, if you had to pick one moment that you'd highlight for people who are going to be playing the game, what would your pick be?
The moment that really where it clicked for me was the Grimm's rush in Chicago. When you go into Chicago for the first time and you have Grimm's running at you in huge numbers down the alley, and you've got the splicer equipped and you can just take them apart, is really gratifying. And it's gratifying for a particular reason. We worked on that segment for a long time to try to get the Grimm's right. Because at first they were these shambling kind of zombie creatures, and they just didn't have that punch that we needed to separate them from other kind of zombie creatures in games. And so we started talking about, well, what can we do to make it more interesting? Let's make them sprint at you. Let's make them 100-yard dash champions. And all of a sudden, it came to life.
We had a whole track team out there for that matter then.
Yeah, really large one.
So
bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
A lot of firsts for Resistance 2. I mean, the scope of the game for Insomniac's huge. You've got a collector's edition. What do you think is kind of the most groundbreaking thing? What means the most to you from Resistance 2?
Man, I mean, it's a good personal question. I think if you ask every person on the team, they're going to have something different to say. For me, it was really gratifying to be able to continue the Resistance story. I mean, a lot of us love the Resistance universe. We've sunk a lot of time into developing the backstory, and to be able to develop Hale more as a character and explain who he is and kind of answer some questions that people have been asking on Resistance Fall of Man was gratifying.
If you had to define sort of like the signature weapon for Resistance, like what would it be?
So it's a good question. I think it's a toss-up between 3 weapons, really. It's the Magnum, which is a fantastic weapon in pretty much every situation. The Marksman, which has both a great primary and alternate fire, and the Splicer. Those would be my 3.
Sure.
What about the Bullseye?
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the signature.
I'm thinking Resistance 2, I guess. I mean, if you talk about the Resistance
I'm
franchise,
talking like the franchise, the symbol.
Yeah, that has to be the Bullseye. And Bullseye went through a lot of improvements as well in Resistance 2. The character team did a fantastic job upgrading these weapons and making them look really spectacular with many more moving parts. I mean, it feels heavier too when you've got it in your hands.
So on that note, Ted, I kind of wanted to bring Frank Simon in. He's the senior producer on Resistance 2 for a very special presentation for you.
You know how those funny things go with live events. So you kind of, not sure quite what's going to happen at any particular point in time. So it's interesting that you guys are talking about weapons. Obviously we're big fans at Sony about the weapons that have been created in Resistance, and Resistance 2 is no slacker. It's definitely introduced its new share. But we definitely agree with Ryan and James that the Bullseye is the signature weapon for Resistance. And an appreciation for all the great things that Insomniac Games has done, not only for the PS3, but for the community at large, we decided to maybe put something together that may signify that appreciation for you. So I want to introduce Gary Barth. Gary is actually part of our video services group. Has a few friends in the industry that actually went and assembled something for you guys. Nice. So we're hoping you guys will take this back to Insomniac and you guys can appreciate it. But you can see that it's actually modeled from the game. We may have been a little bit sneaky, talked to a few artists, got a few actual models here.
This thing heavy.
You're just saying heavy than
the real Bullseye.
That is very cool.
Careful where you're pointing that thing.
Okay, that is.
Don't take your eye out on those top.
But let me
awesome.
Gary tell you a little bit about how he made it.
Okay. It feels like it's cast iron. I mean,
it's CNC'd aluminum and stamped aluminum and some brass parts in there. It's got a few resin things, but it was constructed by Steve Dimzo from SD Studios, who's a a guy that's made a lot of props and stuff for movies, and he created the whole line of Star Wars lightsabers that you can buy at retail. And so basically he took we got a render from all different sides. And
do you have any idea how hard it is to keep people from telling you what's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
I have no idea.
Big props to Brian Intihar and the artists at Insomniac who worked really hard on this on the inside. So they deserve a lot of credit for keeping.
And careful, don't stab yourself with those things on top there.
They are. Thank you so much, guys.
No problem.
Detailed. I mean,
it weighs about 27 pounds. It's pretty solid.
That is awesome, guys.
And you couldn't hear it when it started up because it's so loud in here, but it actually makes the startup sound when you pop the magazine into it. So there you go.
Thank you, guys.
No problem.
We gotta have another trophy displayed at Insomniac.
Yes, this will be displayed prominently. Definitely in
So,
front of
and you've
Insomniac.
got some laser scoping there, as you can see.
I can tell. I'm aiming at Brian right now.
Poor Brian. There's gonna be a stand, so it'll be displayed in our lobby too, hopefully, and it'll be really cool.
Yeah.
Well, Ted, a few minutes left before Resistance 2 launches here. They're already starting to let people in. We got to go over and sign some autographs. Any last thoughts to everyone out there that you want to share?
Get online, guys. We'll be out there. Insomniac will be out there playing. We want to hear your thoughts. Please, it's been invaluable over the years to hear what you guys have thought about our games, because we just want to make great games for great players.
And on that note, we wanted to announce that we're going to be bringing back Insomniac, Play with Insomniac on Friday. So we'll be on the first and third Fridays of the month. You'll be able to catch us between 5 and 6 Pacific time. We'll log in, and you can frag a bunch of Insomniacs and several set-up Insomniac games. So a lot of you wanted that to come back. We did it during Resistance 1, and we're going to make sure to do it.
That was really awesome, by the way. I mean, that was one of the best times after Resistance 1 was getting out there and playing against the fans. So absolutely, I know there'll be a lot of Insomniacs participating.
Well, we hope to make it a tradition for a long time.
So should be a lot of fun. Ted, thanks for coming on, and you'll see some more footage now of what's going on afterwards, the actual launch, the first people buying the game, and then Ryan, Brian, and I will be back to wrap things up. So stay tuned for that.
What do we got in the box?
Absolutely. Got the Chimera figure. That's going to be cool. I don't think I'm going to open it, though. I think that would definitely cut it down. Got the book. Read it on the way while I'm driving. No, definitely worth the 8-hour wait.
8 hours?
That's right.
Man, this guy's
something like
hardcore.
that. It's been
Cool.
about 2:30.
Cool,
It's
man.
good stuff. Yeah.
Who's number one?
I'm excited.
Number one?
That's right.
It's worth it, baby.
Number one in my heart. That's right.
Number one in ours.
That's
too,
all right.
man.
All right. I
Thanks for coming
appreciate it.
down.
Whoa, straight.
Here, get this ball. I'm signing Corey right here.
Brian, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming out tonight. I know it's freezing outside, so
That's worth it.
hopefully you'll get a chance to play tonight.
I want to shoot somebody.
Hey, get me running away.
Well, we hope you have enjoyed this first ever video podcast from Insomniac Games and enjoyed getting a look inside the launch event here for Resistance 2. We're really happy that you took the time to check this out. We're hoping to do more of these next year as we move forward, so we definitely want any and all of your feedback on it. This is just the beginning for Resistance 2, and I think we can't emphasize that enough. With Resistance, we had a really strong support for patching the game, continuing to update the game for our players. You'll see the same thing with Resistance 2. You'll also see that reflected in myresistance.net and continuing to update myresistance.net. We did a few things on the first MyResistance, have a lot more updates planned for the new one, so there's a lot of new features that'll be coming down the line. Thanks to everyone on MyResistance, our moderation staff, everyone who's been involved with that and involved with the new site. And on top of that, all of our community members everywhere and all of our fans who are outside checking this out tonight and here.
And, of course, the people working back in Burbank.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, our teammates, we're just the lucky people who get to be the face and the mouth of Insomniac, and I guess that makes me the butt. And really, the people who are working hardest are the ones that are back in Burbank, and the whole game is really an extension of their hard work and passion, and we're just lucky enough to be able to speak on their behalf.
Cool.
So big shout out for the rest of our Insomniac team.
Awesome. Well, guys, on behalf of everyone from Insomniac Games and everyone here who's not on camera right now, thanks for watching the show. And any last words?
Signing
See you online.
All right, we will catch you guys sometime next year. Thanks again for watching, and send all of your feedback to podcast@insomniacgames.com. We're done.
All right, guys. This
Cool.
is awesome.
Man, you're killing us though, naming every weapon but the
Well, and you want to feel like a setup, right? Everybody said the Bullseye.
I know. I'm just like, but what about the signature weapon for the
How are we gonna get
franchise?
him back into this? Nice.
How about
Well,
that?
Well played, guys.
That is really cool, guys. Nice job. Thank you
Awesome,
so much.
Yeah, I figured that looked good in the office.
Oh yeah.
Got
Oh, yeah,
15
right.
minutes. We're good.
Great job.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
I feel like we need to put this in a commercial. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
So is it Metreon or Metreon?
Which one is it?
You're the
Well, tonight it's the
Is it the
Metreon
Metreon?
because we're going to meet a bunch of Insomniacs. So there you go.
That was
Chimera.
awful. What was that? That was awful. That was terrible.
Do you have to say that every single time I'm on with you?
Yes. Cut. Start again.